Hi, everyone. I'm Anna, and welcome to today's message. Today's message is True Love is Found in the Soul from 1 John 4:16. So we have come to know and to believe the love that God has for us. God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in them. Now, the last few days, you have heard a couple of messages from me, and those messages have been a little bit different. And there's a reason for that. I spend quite a bit of time praying before I give messages, and the words that I give just simply come to me. And today's message is no different. I am being directed to step out in a little bit different way. And so here is today's message. It was today when God gave me a realization based on the message that I posted yesterday. People do not love. People change. They change their minds, their hearts, their feelings. People are unsteady, mostly unavailable, and incapable of containing true love in their human nature. In fact, people receive information that goes against the very nature of who God created us to be. And when that happens, we see or hear things, and when we see or hear things we don't like, our brains shut those off and ignore them. And it becomes worse when we are very passionate about our belief. And that confirmation creates a bias that confirms what we already think in our human mind. And it creates the illusion that everyone else thinks the way that we do. In fact, those who think differently are considered to be wrong. Not just wrong, but usually the enemy, which is part of the reason that Jesus was persecuted. And because people choose humans that are like them, they do that to confirm their own point of view and avoid what they don't want to know or believe. And it is a polarization of our human identity. And the longer that we remain in it, the worse it becomes. Because if you choose to believe differently and admit that you might be right or wrong about your thoughts, then you're required to accept new ideas, which takes you out of your comfort zone. And the truth is that being open-minded means that you have to change your bias and disconfirm it. And that means changing your heart and perhaps your mind and ultimately your soul. Because humans create a barrier to the true love of Christ. And when you allow people to convince you that you really are someone else. Now, there's an aware presence that occurs to some people. I am one of those people. It's a gift given by God. And it only happens when you have traveled your human life in a certain way, when you've chosen to awaken. And it allows you to be fully conscious in any moment, in all situations. It allows you to tune into the current environment and the people within it. And it gives you the ability to connect at a soul level with other people. Meaning not only are you aware of the space around you, but also the emotions of the people around you. It allows you to communicate in a way that can only come from this awareness. And it's an upgrade, an improvement in your ability to see through the emotions and masks of other people and other attention-seeking human distractions. And that ability is a mindfulness that always makes you incredibly aware in the present moment. And it can be a bit difficult for some people to grasp. And for most people, it needs to be experienced. I wouldn't have believed it if it didn't happen to me. And once God gives you this gift, well, it can't be removed. And you can't go back to being blissfully and humanly unaware. You have to use your analytical mind in order to do it. And for those who don't understand it, it seems impossible to do. But it is essentially the basic state of which you were created, and the reason that most people can't do it is because they accept the world as it is, and they see it in a human way, and going back to your original self feels like a backward movement. So they refuse to do it because they're engulfed in their human life. And they decide to allow their mind to be a little like the absent-minded professor. They choose human condition and forget that they are brilliance that comes when you choose to live unintentionally in the grace of God. Now, here's the science behind it. For those of you who are scientifically driven, human minds are not present most of the time. Past and future come from thinking, and that lures us away from the present moment, from the now. And when you come back to who you truly are in the current moment, you connect back to the earth and the energy within it. It's called grounding. And this is when you become very clear-minded and very present. And the awareness that I'm talking about, it brings you back to your soul, where your mind and heart live in the presence of God who lives within you, which brings you back to who you were being created to be, which is a soul. God within, with you in the here and now. So back to what I said at the beginning of this, true love is in the soul. Now, if you heard yesterday's message, I explained using both science and the Bible to tell you how the soul connects to our humanity to God within. It is multifaceted, and the Bible tells you that the nature of God lives, which is in you, where science explains a process that enables the love inside. It is a construction built of cooperation between the science of the human body and the evolution of the soul. And I can assure you that scientists and religious scholars have argued about this for ages. But until they decide to understand God's perspective, they're never going to realize that they both support life, and that the universe, both visible and invisible, is actually the relationship between both. Love is not only a scientific phenomenon, but a creation in God's universal design. The true role of humanity within it is the relationship of both, which is what is occurring when you become truly aware. Now, it's the soul that lives inside of you that truly is the nature of love. Because the soul is what connects human hearts and minds to the true godly soul, which is complete and true love, agape love. I began to understand what the soulmate really is a few months ago. Your true soulmate is God within. And that is what feeds you. Your ability to live and love yourself, God within you. Everything else is humans liking other humans and calling it love. That is why it fails. Now I'm going to tell you to sit with that for a moment. And while you do, I'll tell you that evolution itself is the human capacity for love. In fact, it's the process used to create humanity. Because God is love. And it is understanding that love that is so important that evolution is the science of being created in the image of God. With biological scientific mechanisms built inside of us that allow us, even before birth, to have a human experience of true love within our own soul. This is why the Bible tells us that we will know other Christians by their love. It is a remarkable convergence that is missed by humanity in general. Because we walk around choosing not to be present, but always in the state of movement. Why do you think the Bible says, "Be still and know that I'm God"? Because it is only in stillness, in the present, that we really truly can understand. So here is an incredible truth. You can choose whether to be open-minded or not. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just being obedient and delivering the message. But when you reunite with your soulmate, God within, your human love becomes all it's meant to be. You are then given the true ability to love and understand humanity, which in itself is joy. Despite humanity's struggle to live within itself and be closed-minded. You see, true love is truly God's joy living inside of you. And it is what empowers you to find human love. It allows your soul to call out to another soul. Because we truly are energy scientifically and soul biblically. The other soul will find you in chaos, and these two souls find each other out of billions of other people. And when you find that, it lasts, but it has to go through trial and tribulation. And a true soul connection of scientific and biblical proportion. And even if it sometimes fails, once your soul finds its way back to God within, the separated souls then reunite because they're guided back to each other after the trial. And if they don't come back together, well, then it really never was truly soulful love. Because scientifically, energy seeks itself and God embodies energy, and it is the life-giving force that sustains the very existence of who we are. Because energy is a necessary component for any form of life existence. You can ask any science teacher about it. It is a truly miracle from God. Understanding that God is energy within us, creating an interconnectedness among all life forms, which creates the unity of souls. A profound truth about sustaining life and why spiritual awakening occurs. It's the divine connection between science and biblical theology. Proof that God is both the source and sustainer of all form of existence. And before you decide to believe me or not, I want to share this with you. 1 John 1:5 says God is light, and light is truth, goodness, and life, but scientifically, it is energy. Genesis 2:7 says God formed man from dust and breathed life to make man a living being. The breath of life is divine energy in all living forms. And Colossians 1:17 says he is before all things, and in him all things are held together. He is the omnipresent force that guarantees the cohesiveness of our universe, which keeps the physical world intact, which is exactly how atoms and molecules bind together to create energy. Now, are you thinking yet? Are you using your analytical mind and understanding the complexity but simpleness of human existence? Or are you still trying to logically use your emotions and find some methodical reason to call me crazy? Well, truly, the soul is the science of love. And as I have grown in my understanding of true love, I began to see it reflects the character of God in my life. It was never about the actions I took or the words that I said. True love is embodying the true nature of God. It is understanding the purpose of your soul. To understand that God lives and loves within us. And that our relationship with ourselves is the relationship that we have with God. The only complex thing about it is the extraordinary way that we have to accept that the universe is not random or chaotic, but orderly, soulfully in tune, and purposeful. It calls us to understand by way of faith the intention of human existence, which is pure, unconditional, agape love. And this challenge to find it determines our eternity and truly if we find our divine calling, which is to enhance human knowledge of God, embrace being his disciple, and bring his light back into the world by fulfilling his purpose for us. The only real challenges that we have as human beings is to rise above the human culture of what is normal and choose the intimacy of true soul love with God. To accept the call of a God so profound that he gave us light energy by existing within us. which transcends human understanding and reasoning, which the Bible also tells us. I am who I am are his words, telling us that he requires no cause. He is the cause, the source of all life, the designer and sustainer of human life and love. The reality of it is just too much for the human brain to understand. And it is only in true faith that God brings you to understand it just enough to make the right choices. To understand that he is within, ever faithful in sustaining you in life and ultimately in love. Because it is in love that we are truly saved. It is as simple as that. As simple as trusting the unconditional love and faith of Christ by choosing to love yourself and those around you. It is to understand that your job is to believe that anything is possible. You need to find the sacred union of your soul to God. It is in the sanctuary that he built inside of you. And you need to see yourself in the higher light of God. When you do that, my friends, God will do the rest. Love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. And thank you for your donations to My Divine Mission and for keeping my messages alive. I'll see you next time.